Namaste, everyone. Happy you're joining me today for this yen flow. I'm going to scoot back a little bit. I mentioned we're going to use a block, at least one. You can have two available, and if you want your bolster for, shavasana, have that available. I wanted to begin this practice with a song by Ziggy Marley, but because we're zooming, music just doesn't translate well through Zoom. So I thought I would just share the lyrics, okay? And this Ziggy Marley song is called Higher Vibrations. And this isn't verbatim, but this kind of gives you the gist of the message at least. We are creatures of love, and we got to keep living with our backs against the wall and start living to a higher vibration. Now we take it to the heights of creation. Perfection of divinity is everyone's duty. Don't waste your time living for the vanities. We are the creatures of faith and the victims of destiny which we create. Now we're living on a higher vibration because we take it to the heights of creation. It's a human experience, another sphere, in a human existence on another wavelength. Listen to me now. Now we're living on a higher vibration. We take it to the height of creation. Let me take you a little higher, and then you can take me a little higher. So that song came to me last evening because my son has this girlfriend now, and he wanted her to come over after school today. And so he was like, hey, can she bring me home and can she hang out for a little while? And I said, sure, but Rob and I both have to work. So you're either going to have to be done by the time I go back to work, or you guys can come with me to yoga. And they decided to come with me to yoga tonight, which I'm really excited about. But as I was kind of mulling over in my head, well, I really want to bring in something kind of musical since they're both musicians. And this is the first song that came into my mind. And usually that's what I roll with, is just whatever comes up instantly. And so this song by Ziggy Marley came up, and it's all about living and building yourself up and existing in a vibration. So just think about the fact that it's wintertime, and in winter, sometimes we get a little bit more isolated because the day is shorter. We tend to hunker down at home or maybe feel a little depressed, and our spirits might get a little low, especially after the holidays. So I thought this was a perfect song to kind of start with. And if you want to listen to it later, pull it up on YouTube or pull it up on Spotify so that you can hear it. And the last thing I want to say before we get started is you may have already noticed whenever you go through yoga practice, if you're coming to the mat feeling a little down, feeling a little dull, or feeling like your light is dimmed, all it takes is that hour of really being mindful with your breath and with your movement to get on that higher vibration, to raise and to lift your energy, or to lift and elevate your mood. So that's our intention for today, as it is every time we come to the mat. So bring at least one block with you, and I'll meet you there. So we're going to begin on our backs, and you can have your knees bent if that's better for you. Have your block in hand's reach. And of course, your hands can rest on the abdomen beside you. Whatever feels good for the shoulders. And close your eyes. Go within. Maybe just mull over the question, what vibration are you currently holding inside? Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And remember, this hour together will be able to transmute this. Even if you're feeling good, hopefully you'll feel even better when we complete this class. First and foremost, let's begin some pranayama. Breathing with depth and control. Invite life force in. And sending any and all negativity away. And as you're breathing, maybe even observe how you may have a slight pause at the top of the inhale, and even a natural pause at the end of the exhale. Now we're going to begin our movement with a little bit of a flow. So let's go ahead and bring the arms out like a T, and then bring the knees together and shoot the feet skyward up above. So this is like a modified waterfall. And then flatten the feet. And otherwise, you want to activate your feet as though you're trying to put your footprints up on the ceiling. And then exhale, create a split. Inhale, draw the legs together. And exhale, hug the knees in with your arms. Inhale, extend your arms to your sides, legs overhead. And exhale, widen your feet. Inhale, zip them together. And exhale, Apanasana, wind release. Continue this. Inhale, open. Exhale, slide apart. Inhale, bring it back together. And exhale, wind release. All right, now hold your wind release. Staying grounded on your low back. Closing the eyes. And take your hands to stack on top of your knees. As we inhale, we're pushing the knees away, straightening the arms. And as we exhale, we glide them back towards the chest. Inhale, push away. Exhale, tuck and squeeze in. One more. Inhale, press away. Exhale, tuck and squeeze. All right, inhale, press away. Open the arms. Fly the feet up. Exhale, create the split. But this time, we're going to relax the ankles, relax the toes, and just be here. Expanding the legs, stretching the inner thighs, and letting gravity help. Three energetic channels getting stimulated and opened up here. And it's for the spleen meridian, liver meridian, and kidney meridian. Take 3 more breaths. You may feel some quivering. Just don't let it go to the point of pain. All right, let's take the hands up to help the legs form that state of union. And then as you exhale, hug the knees back to the belly and chest. All right, now lower your right leg down the lane of the mat. Loosen your grip on the left knee and pick up that foot. Take your left hand to find the outside of the foot, if possible, or hold your calf or shin, and you're gently pulling it down to half happy baby. Trying to align ankle over knee, but it doesn't need to necessarily be precise. Your right leg's just hanging out, so it's okay for the knee to bend. Close your eyes and meditate on the sensation and noticing how much you may be holding. Remember, sometimes we can push down our emotions if we're not wanting to feel or deal with them in the moment, and it can get stored here. The hips also tie in with relations, finances, career. So if it feels tense, tight, or tender, maybe you're dealing with some stress regarding those things. Rest your right hand on your belly and take 3 more breaths. All right, on the out breath, let's send the left leg down the mat. Return your eyelids down and check in. Noticing the difference between the left and the right side of your pelvis, hip, leg, and foot. All right, let's take it to the other side. So pick up your right leg, bend that knee, lift your right hand up, maybe tag up hold of the pinky toe side of the foot or the calf or shin, and you're gently pulling it down, lining ankle over knee, half Ananda Balasana. It's okay if the right knee bends and it's lax. We're not engaging that side. But remember, the hips and shoulders are the 2 primary areas of movement in the body. So we don't want to get too stuck here, which can happen if we do a lot of sitting. So we're going to bring some energy and blood flow here. Again, if you're tense, tight, or tender, and if you're not having stress regarding what this area governs, maybe consider you may be having an issue with your own masculine or feminine energy, or another female or man in your life. Because the masculine tends to show up on the right, and the feminine tends to show up left. could even be a little different due to our habit of how we stand or sit, leaning to one side or the other. These are some of the questions you can ask yourself while you're holding the shape. Left hand to the stomach, and take 3 more. All right. When you release that side, just take a quick mini corpse pose. Notice how much we've freed up already. And then grab your block. We're going to bend the knees. Pick up the feet. Come closer so that you can take the block in between. And then just as we were pushing the knees away with the hands, you want the knees to stack right over the hip points or the pelvis. Now, if you're tighter or more restricted in your low back, feel free to sink the feet to the floor. We're going to do a twist. So open your arms out, squeeze the block, and let your knees roll left and turn your head to the left. Now, the feet can land to the floor, but I want you to notice holding the block in place will keep the knees fairly stacked, which will in turn stack the hips, which is helpful to secure the SI joints. But you may find the right shoulder lifts. You may even have your right hand lift. If it feels good in this stretch, you can hover. But if you need a prop, you can slide a blanket or bolster underneath your right arm for support. Now, I'm allowing this to occur today for myself because I can feel the fascia, that internal webbing of connective tissue, has become really tight. And if it's tight in this region between the chest and the shoulder, you may find that your posture is poor. And if your posture is poor, then it blocks the breath. And if the breath becomes shallow, that can lead to depression. So there's a purpose for wanting to hang out here. Now when you close your eyes, deepen your breath. Putting more emphasis on the right lung. Watching it inflate and allowing it to deflate. turned your head to the left, since that right shoulder may be elevated, because we wouldn't want to head the same way unless and only if that shoulder was completely grounded. All right, let's inhale, draw the head to center, lift the knees back up. And then without using your hands, contain the block between the knees and circle them. Several times one way, massaging the low back, and then circling the opposite way. All right, so discover, did that work out for you with the feet hovering, the knees over the hip points? Or if that was too much, try landing your feet to the mat. All right, we'll try the other side. Let's squeeze the block and roll the knees to the right and turn your head to the right and let your feet land. And you may notice a pretty stark difference between the two sides as far as the shoulder goes and whether or not it lifts away from the mat. It's just important information, so take that mental note. If it hovers a lot, you can add in a prop. Breathe into that left lung and up into that connective tissue. So think about when you're depressed, you feel weighed down. Maybe that's because of just life or challenges or obstacles. But the yoga, the movement, the breath work, the meditation helps us to expand and open, to lay those burdens down, to let that weight go so that we feel lighter and freer and existing in that higher vibration. All right, we're going to lift that left arm and let's just roll to the right side. You can remove that block, push into your left hand, and come back up. When you come up, we're going to stack onto our shins and feet and determine here, since we're going to fold forward, do you want them together or slightly open? The block's going to be held in the hands, and we're going to hold the block up and walk the arms forward and bow the head in between. It's okay if your head doesn't touch down. So feel the stretch in the outseam of the arms, underneath the arms. Notice how it brings more length to the thoracic area of the back. right, let's lower the block. Turn the palms down where your thumb and index fingers framing the block. And rock up to hands and knees. Of course, if you splayed the legs, the knees will crawl back under the hips. It's okay if your hands are slightly beyond your shoulders because we're going to lift a down dog. So curl the toes, push up and back to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now roll the shoulders and outer arms away from the ears. And then slightly dial down through your thumb and index fingers. So you're spiraling the muscles from the shoulders to the wrist. Relax your neck. And now roll your thighs in. And start to power down through your outer heels, attempting to keep the sacrum lifting towards the sky. And then exhale, descend your knees. All right, we're going to slide that block a little more forward. We're going to keep the thighs perpendicular to the floor. Slide the left hand out to frame the block. Bring your right arm down and sink into half melting heart. So in that half melting heart, it's kind of like the Nike symbol. Think about that occurring from your seat down towards your hand. Now, since it's yin, I like to lay the elbow to the floor. And you're welcome to do the same. The belly is sinking, and the low back is swaying. Remember, back bends help to combat depression. They help to open the heart. And back bends do require hips and shoulders. So it's not just the spine. Now let's lift the face, slide your left hand back, prop back to tabletop position, and we'll do the same. Slide your right hand out, frame the block. Use your left arm to rest on. Sits bones lifting, belly sinking, heart melting. You can allow the right elbow to rest. If you find you're holding tension in your face or jaw, this is a great time to take a cleansing breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Let's slide the right hand in. Prop back up to hands and knees. This time we'll go to down dog without the block. So curl the toes. Sail up and back. Condition your body so there's a blend of strength and flexibility here. Now look forward towards your hands, towards the block at the front of your mat. Step the feet behind your hands. We're coming towards a squat. So if your block is here and you need it, sit on it. If you don't need it, it can be there out in front. So let's do it the yin way, which means instead of having a long vertebrae, we actually allow it to round a little and rest the head to prayer hands. Remember, in cultures where they do this a lot, whether it's cooking or cleaning or being in the rice fields or whatever, elderly tend to be more independent and have less problems with their back. So we know it's good for the hips, we can feel it. We know it's good in the inner thighs, we can feel it. But it also maintains a healthy back, as well as a healthy elimination process. So notice when you're traveling, how sometimes that can throw your digestive system off. And if you ever feel like you're stopped up, this is the pose to practice. All right, let's bring the hands down and we're going to turn the toes forward. Grab a hold of your elbows and come to dangling pose. So in dangling, the legs can be straight or knees slightly bent. If this is making your upper body too heavy, you can send your hands down. But sometimes even being inverted is a great way to see and to view things from a different perspective, which helps to open and expand the mind. So we're not so limited on our thinking or so pigeonholed. Even that can help to lift our vibration. Let's start to heel, toe the feet more together. And bend your knees super deep. Flip your hands open alongside your pinky toes. Bow your head. Standing form of child's. your next inhale, lengthen your arms in front of you, press to your feet, come up to stand. Allow the arms to frame the face, your feet to burrow down, Urdhva Hastasana. And then exhale, hands together and fold. Straight down the middle. All right, inhale, step to down dog. Sometimes we need just a boost to the brain. Immersions can help with that. So we're not so dull-minded. That can lift our vibration. All right, let's bring the left knee and shin up. Slide your right knee up near the left foot and sit down on your outer left thigh. So this is sometimes called half pigeon or deer pose. And you can be on the top of the foot. I like to turn to the inside of the foot. And then we're walking it out beyond the shin. And so your block should be close by if you want that prop. Or even if you want it to go under your head. Oh, wow, it's thundering here. Right, so this was kind of warming up our hip for where we're headed next. So if you don't do like a normal pigeon pose, what we call swan pose in yin, you could actually stay here, or you can flip to your back and cross the left ankle over the knee. Park it, park it. So if you're coming towards swan, lengthen your right leg, push off your left hip so that you're facing the front of the mat. Slide your right leg back more. And I just want you to prop onto your palms right now. Look straight ahead. Now, if you want to lower, you can go ahead and descend to the degree of your liking. Just sink and surrender. And if it's raining at your house, just listen to the rain. Your next in-breath, gently start to back your way up. Flatten your palms, curl the back toes. Let's lift off to downward facing dog and feel that flush occurring from your left hip down to your foot. All right, we're going to take it to deer, leading with the right side. So the right knee and shin comes to the top of the mat. You can glide or bring that left knee forward. Sit down on your outer right leg. Find the comfortable position for your left foot, and then descend. Remember, you can use props if that's helpful. Inhale, let's come up. If you want to stay in that one, you can. If you want to flip to your back, ankle over knee, that's an option. Or slide your left leg back, push off with the right hand to lift that right hip. And we're going to slide the left foot farther behind us. We'll lean forward as we prop onto the hands first. Because I want you to notice there is something that you can receive here that you can't get when you're lower to the floor. And maybe this is where you feel stuck. Maybe you're unsure and you want to crawl it forward to test it out, to see where you want to hang out and breathe. So we've been steeping in the hips for a good part of this practice. Hopefully we're clearing some things away so that you have more mobility and feel much freer at the end. next inhale, let's gently start to come up. We're going to roll onto the right hip so that we can swing the left leg around. And we're going to use our bolster for this one. And the legs are going to open up, similar to what we did on our back. And you can do it one of two ways. You can bring the bolster to stack under your brow like this. You can also bring the bolster down and lean onto it. And then if you can go deeper than this, of course, you can turn the bolster and fold or flatten down. I've seen some people do that. So see what's in your practice and what's available today. This will be our final pose before Shavasana. We're going to end this one with a cleansing breath. So breathe in through the nose. Audible sigh through the mouth. And as we start to back away, you're going to bring that bolster in front of you so the legs can cross over. Now, I know Wendy in particular wanted some hips today. So my hips are done actually. So I'm just going to lay out this way. But if you feel like you want more for your hips, you can do reclined butterfly, of course. Feet together, knees apart. And then if you have an eye bag or a towel, feel free to cover your eyes. If you want to stay warm, a blanket can cover you. Or you can place the blanket underhead. And we're talking about a higher vibration today. So remember, even the breath alone can do that. The breath and certain pranayama techniques can even get us slightly naturally high. So if you want that euphoric high, you want to focus on one thing. Maybe that's your breath today. Let's inhale, stack the feet on top of the prop and just rock the knees gently side to side. And let's roll to one. Come up to sit. And I wanted to share a quote with you here at the end. So if you could just sit up nice and tall, rest your hands on your lap, close your eyes. And you've probably heard this before. In many shamanic societies, if you came to the medicine person complaining of being disheartened, dispirited, or depressed, they would ask one or more of these questions. When did you stop dancing? When did you stop singing? And when did you stop being enchanted by stories? Or when did you stop finding comfort in the sweet territory of solace and silence? So let's sit for a moment together in silence. Om, Om, Om. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste.